Welcome to the program. My name is Deborah Stokes, and this is my first broadcast. It's called Love Looks Like This. I want to thank Pastor Ivan and Oylin for the opportunity to broadcast to you today. And I'm very excited and a little bit nervous, but it's going to be great because we are going to help people learn what love really looks like. We serve a good God, and He is always about the business of helping us and showing us who He is and what His love really looks like here among His people. Many years ago, I was able to get a new job at the state capitol. And when I decided to take this new job, I realized that I needed a coat. It's a very simple thing, but when you're going to work in the wintertime in Georgia, you need a coat. So I decided to go shopping for my very first coat for a long time. I'd had coats before, but I hadn't worked for a while, so I needed a coat. So I went to the department stores and I looked, and I wanted something that had a good value and something that was going to hold up well. So I found this really nice green trench coat. And the green coat was the perfect coat for me. I was very excited. And even to make it better, the green coat was on sale. Now, we women all like a good sale. So the fact that the coat was on sale made it even prettier. So I purchased the coat and put it, got dressed to go to work my very first day. And I went down to the Capitol. I was riding the train. And as I got off the train, I started to walk up into the train station. And I looked to my right, and there was a young woman sitting on the bench on the train station, and all she had on was a T-shirt. She had on a black T-shirt. I remember it. So I looked at her, and I just walked past. And I think many times the Holy Spirit will tell us to stop and pay attention, but we don't always pay attention. So I did glance at her and thought, how odd for a young woman to be sitting in a train station in the middle of January with no clothes on. So I went up the escalator, and when I got to the top of the escalator, the Holy Spirit said to me, "You have to go back." And I thought, okay, I'll go back. So I turned around and went to the down escalator and went back down to the platform of the train station. And I approached the young woman very cautiously. And I asked her, "Where are you going?" And she replied, "I'm going home." And I said, "Well, where is home?" And she told me, "Ellenwood." So I stood there for a minute, and I knew that I needed to help her. So I made sure I took everything out of my pockets of my coat and put it in my bag, and I took my coat off and I gave it to her. And she just looked at me as if to say, "What are you doing?" So I gave her my coat, and she just sort of held it, and I said, you should put it on. Remember, it's January, it's cold. So she put it around her shoulders. And I said, "It's very cold. You should put the coat on." So she put her arms into the coat and wrapped it around her tightly. And I said, "Okay, stay warm." And then I walked away. And I don't know what she said or what she thought after I walked away. But I went back up the escalator and back down the escalator to the street. And as I walked out of the building onto the street, the sun was shining. It was warm. There was no wind. And I realized I didn't need the coat. God had provided the warmth that I needed without the coat. And I was able to provide warmth for that day and for the future for the young woman to whom I gave the coat. And I I recalled this story to some friends on a prayer call one night, and they said, "Wow, that's a true story?" And I said, yes, it really happened. And one of the young ladies on the call said, "That is a children's book." And I thought, okay, it could be. So I guess it was nearly 6 or 8, almost a year later, that I sat down one day and I wrote the story of the green coat. And it ended up being a book called The Green Coat. And it was very interesting, the process of writing the book and getting the book published. But it really wasn't. It wasn't the main focus of the experience that I had. I think the main reason that I experienced that was so that God would be glorified, in that I was able to show what love really looks like. And over a period of time, after having written the book and growing in the Word and learning more about God and His character and how He communicates with us and how much He loves us and how He longs to have His purposes fulfilled through us. During that development, I learned that the story of the green coat is an example of what love really looks like on this earth every day. And in studying the Word, I found in the book of James, actually, I use it for my little bookmark for the book, but in the book of James, chapter 2, starting with verse 14, says, "What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit?" So when I read that, I realized what James is saying is, we are called to be the hands and feet of Jesus. We are called to provide for the immediate, the physical, the spiritual needs of our brothers and sisters. So this love looks like this. Love looks like giving someone a green coat. Love looks like providing a meal for a hungry person. Love looks like this. It looks like listening when someone is sad or frightened, by using the gifts that God has placed in us. That's what love looks like. And we're able to demonstrate what God has placed in us by showing that love to others. I know that the ultimate gift of love was when God sacrificed His Son on the cross for our redemption. That is what love looks like. So just in a very practical way, we have the opportunity to show others what love looks like. I think especially as women, we are given a special measure of compassion and love and care and the ability to communicate with each other. And I hope that during this time that we share, we'll be able to address some of the ways that love is shown and demonstrated, especially among women. There is a chapter in Titus that says the older women are to embrace and help teach and train the younger women. And perhaps we've gotten away from that a little bit in some areas, but I hope that this program will help us to go back, because I am now an older woman. I spoke earlier, years ago, I was called to go into broadcasting, and I tried it in commercial television in South Carolina and in Chattanooga, and I moved away from it. And when the opportunity to do this broadcast came up, I was praying about it, and the Holy Spirit just revealed to me, well, this is what God called you to do many years ago. So I had no choice but to accept the challenge or the call and to try to do it again. So the program that you're seeing tonight or this morning or whenever it's airing is one that will focus on the fact that love looks like this. There's a specific way that we are called to love. One other thing I want to say is we have been kind of tricked by the enemy or by the world to think that being a wife and mother is less than the highest calling. But truly, being a wife and a mother is the highest calling for a woman to have. And if we are able to kind of correct that misinformation, I think that women in the world will be able to do a better job and feel more fulfilled being a wife and a mother. I grew up during the feminist movement, and getting out and getting a job and earning your own salary was really the thing to do. You know, it was above all else. And that was not true. That was just a trick of the enemy to get women away from the most important role that God gave them to do, and that was that of being a wife and mother. So I hope that in this program we'll be able to start some discussions and pass along some information, some wisdom that I've learned over the years. And I hope to have other women who come in and share their life stories so that we can learn from each other and avoid the the pitfalls that women often encounter. But above all else, to help each other to draw nearer to the Father and to be able to slow ourselves down and listen and be obedient to what the Holy Spirit tells us. He is constantly guiding, he is constantly directing, he is constantly encouraging us. But the noise and the distractions of the world around us, and even things that are in our own heads, can keep us from hearing the voice of God. And we need to hear. We need to be able to know how much we impact the people around us. You never know what a person needs that you come in contact with. They may simply need your smile or your acknowledgement or a hug. I don't know, with the coronavirus, people don't even want to hug anymore. I think that's kind of sad, but anyway, we still need hugs. So hopefully we'll be able to discuss and communicate and share some of the ways that God shows us that love looks like this. Love looks like sacrifice. Love looks like obedience. Love looks like consistency. Love looks like caring. So those are the types of things we want to discuss in the future. And I'm so happy that you were able to join me. And I hope to see you again really, really soon. Thank you.